Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the New Ways to Connect and Co-Create with Consumers webinar. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. If you would like to ask a question during the presentation, please use the chat feature located in the lower left corner of your screen. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded today, Thursday, March 21st, 2013. I would now like to turn the conference over to Silvana Milenkova, Senior Vice President, Research and Strategic Direction. Silvana has conducted both qualitative and quantitative research in a variety of industries, including technology, CPG, and healthcare. As BuzzBack Senior Vice President of Research, Silvana focuses on early-stage product development, decision-making, and communications research. She has designed numerous large-scale international studies that employ advanced analytics such as conjoint, discrete choice, and other multivariate methodologies. She is also an expert in BuzzBack's innovative enabling and projective techniques. Fluent in 5 languages and an experienced global researcher, she brings over 15 years of client-side experience. Please proceed.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. What we're hoping to do today in this brief webinar is to talk about a need that we hear, from researchers and marketers that we work with, which is around this kind of qualitative and more in-depth learning, but more in terms of reaching people the way they're interacting with each other online at the time they're doing the things we're interested in, and also being able to get more detailed, thought-out feedback from them versus just reactive understanding. We'll cover a solution we have developed for this need, which we hope will answer some of the questions in terms of how to gauge that information from consumers, and illustrate that with a pet study, which we just conducted. And in the end, we will basically tie this back to what it means to all of us, researchers and marketers alike, even if we don't work in the pet category. So when we look, at where research is today, there is a lot of talk around the need of qualitative research, the need of more in-depth understanding and deep dives, continuous feedback with respondents, and we want to know what people are doing in the moment they're doing it. We want to know if they're doing what they're saying, and even sometimes have a longer conversation with them, try to understand what they think about multiple topics. So reaching them once and getting a very detailed, in-depth information doesn't seem to be always the answer for the things we need to know from them. And as researchers, we do have quite a few tools that have been around for a while when it comes to qualitative research. We have traditional focus groups, we have in-depth interviews, and recently there have been a lot of new tools that have come when it comes to online qualitative work. And that can cover things from online focus groups to forums or bulletin boards. Some of us are experimenting with video IDIs or crowdsourcing. And why that is actually a relatively simple and reactive reason when it comes to the industry, frankly. And that's because, we're trying to understand how people are interacting online. And a lot of them are getting, more and more savvy. Not only are they making that part of their daily routine, but they're also very comfortable sharing things online and engaging with others. Research sometimes can be slow to adapt to what the rest of, the industries and people are doing. So this is something that is in the cutting edge. We're trying to basically be proactive and understand what people are doing and reach them in the way that they are doing things. So further to complicate things, actually, people are using a lot of different devices. They're multitasking. They're using multimedia. So research should be, adaptive to that as well. And this is kind of our attempt of what we're trying to show you today. So now let's take a look at what was going on and trending on Reddit. This was from 2 days ago. And if you look at it, it's things that are very personal. Kids, families, some opinions on current events, pets, travel, different activities. And if you're wondering what was from 1 to 14, it was pretty much the same thing, just not as nice-looking pictures. But the commonalities here are really that people are interacting and commenting on each other's posts and liking and explaining why that's relevant to them. None of this really looks like a lot of the ranking and rating scales that we use as researchers, but essentially, people are providing information and commenting and working with each other. And this is from Pinterest. Again, do you notice any commonalities? Very personal information, very interactive. Others have things to say. So this is mainly why today we want to focus on online forums as a way of conducting qualitative research. There are clearly some advantages of this type of format. I know, as I've been saying so far, it does reach people in the way that they're interacting online. But more importantly, it also allows them to participate on their own time, and we can reach these harder to reach people and have them not all be, let's say, from New York or Chicago. It allows us to interact with respondents and have them interact with each other, but also to isolate some of them. So if somebody is saying something really interesting, or if we don't want them to reveal that to the bigger group so they don't influence them, we are able to do that. It's more articulate because we are asking people to write as they post online. So they actually are thinking through what they have to say and not just reacting what others are saying. And it's more accurate because we can reach them at the time when they're doing what we're interested in. You know, having a focus group at 6 p.m. on breakfast is probably not the best way to talk about the topic. And it could be faster and cheaper, which is, some of the advantages. That's not just new to this type of research, but generally to online research. But more importantly, we all talk about these emotional connections. And online forums are especially appropriate when it comes to topics that people are passionate or engaged in, that are inherently personal. And these are things that people might not want to share immediately when it comes to a group, or might piggyback on others' opinions, but the forums actually allow us to get past that. You and I might not know who Terry White is, for example, but I can tell you just by looking at her followers, they're just as likely to talk about her and comment and share what their experiences and opinions of her are as the people who follow, let's say, One Direction. So you do get a lot of that personal connection and interaction with respondents when you do that in this context. So how do we approach this? Like, what makes us savvy as researchers in terms of getting this kind of information from respondents and not just having to look at, unsolicited posts and online bulletin boards? We at BuzzBack developed this online forum as a way to help us researchers leverage the insights that are typically shared from community-based websites. So this is actually a moderated, asynchronous discussion board, and it uses features that are familiar to social communities. So it kind of looks like one and helps people interact in a way that they might when it comes to an online community. And you'll see kind of even the interface is very similar. But it also allows them to share multimedia. It could be videos, it could be pictures. However, we also recognize that some of the online communities can go in their own directions. And as researchers, we do have specific objectives and specific things we need to talk to people about, which is why, Hive uses traditional qualitative methodologies, such as being moderated, being able to guide the conversation, keep it on topic, and also is able to incorporate tasks that are familiar to us researchers. So as you see, here in the brief demo, we can ask them to react in images and create collaging exercises. And then, that helps us guide the discussion. And also, is a tool that we're pretty familiar in using in qualitative and sometimes even in quantitative contexts. And also, we can have them talk to us in projective techniques so we can separate them and put them in different scenarios. And the whole idea is that we want to be able to build upon the insights that people come up with and kind of guide the discussion and figure out, what follow-ups we need to do at which parts. And as I was saying, the whole idea is to figure out how do we get this more in-depth emotional responses and connections from our respondents. We have integrated some of our techniques that, we've used in other contexts into our online forum platform to help us with this. So, we're able to have people collage on a certain topic using images as catalysts. we are able to get brand affinity questions, maybe having them build scenes around, what a brand would be like. I